founder, someone without that deep coding background, took an idea and, well, made it real using today's tech.
Yeah, what's truly fascinating about Zach's journey, I think, is how it kind of flips the scripts. This idea that you need deep technical expertise to build something big in AI.
Right. Let's unpack his background a bit. He started really young, taught himself coding using YouTube tutorials, like back when he was just 7.
7, yeah, incredibly.
And by 12, he'd already launched his first app. And the really interesting part, he did all this without ever getting a formal computer science degree.
Exactly, and that feeds right into Cal AI. He didn't have to build the complex AI models, from the ground up.
So how did he manage that?
Well, he used these powerful off-the-shelf AI APIs. Think of them like pre-built AI services from companies like Google or OpenAI.
Okay.
He combined that with something called lean engineering. The whole approach was about speed and simplicity. Let the existing AI handle the heavy lifting, like recognizing food in photos,
Right.
and then build the rest of the app around it as efficiently as possible. It just completely sidesteps that traditional path of needing to be, a neural network expert yourself.
And the idea itself for Cal AI came from a frustration most of us can probably relate to.
Yeah.
He found that using traditional diet apps, logging meals, it just felt like a chore, typing everything in manually.
It's tedious.
So he just thought, what if you could just snap a photo and let AI figure out the calories? Simple question, really.
A powerful one. That sparked the whole thing. And Cal AI launched, March 2024?
It did by March 2024.
And moving that fast, from just an idea to a launch, that points to a really key strategy here. Validate fast.
Explain that a bit more.
Well, instead of spending years perfecting something, they got a basic version out quickly. An MVP, or minimum viable product.
Okay.
That let them prove the core concept actually worked, and crucially, start getting feedback from real users almost immediately. It forces you to test your idea against reality much, much sooner.
And the results. This is where it gets, well, pretty impressive.
Yeah.
In less than a year, Cal AI has hit over 5 million downloads.
Wow. 5 billion?
It's bringing in something like $2 million in monthly revenue.
Monthly. That's huge.
And Forbes, they've estimated the startup's valuation at around $12 million. All this, and he hasn't even turned 18 yet.
It's incredible. And
Yeah.
looking at how he actually built the company, that's insightful too. It wasn't some giant corporation.
No, not at all.
He brought in 4 co-founders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Each focusing on a specific area. You've got AI development, UX design, making the app feel good to use.
User experience, yeah.
And growth hacking, finding those smart ways to get more users. Then just a small team, 8 full-timers for support, marketing, partnership.
It's a very lean.
Super lean. And that connects back to the bigger picture, right? It shows the power of a small, focused team that can iterate really quickly. And it clearly worked. They've got a 4.8-star rating from, over 114,000 users?
Yeah, the rating's fantastic. Now, it wasn't all just smooth sailing and success stories. Last spring, it got quite a bit of press when Zach shared that he'd been rejected by 15 top universities. We're talking Harvard, Stanford, MIT.
Ouch. The big ones.
Yeah. And there was some public chatter, a bit of debate around his college essay. Some critics felt it came across as, well, maybe a bit arrogant.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah.
But Zach seemed to frame it differently, didn't he? More as a debate about what matters, more real-world impact or, traditional academic credentials.
Exactly.
But the really key thing, I think, is what he did next. Instead of letting those rejections derail him, he just doubled down on the business. Focused on making the product better. Improving the AI's accuracy, refining how new users get started, building partnerships with influencers, especially on platforms like X, to drive user growth. It really makes you pause and think, doesn't it? When you face a setback, a rejection, how do you choose to react? Do you get stuck, or do you refocus on the goal?
That's a great point. So let's bring it back to the listener. If you've got an idea, maybe a big vision, but you're not a coder, not from that deep tech background, what are the takeaways here? What does Zach's story mean for you?
Well, his journey really lays out a kind of playbook, I think, for entrepreneurs today. 4 main things stand out.
Okay, what are they?
First, embrace AI APIs. You don't need to be a machine learning genius yourself. Leverage the powerful tools that companies have already built and made accessible.
Right. Use what's out there.
Second, validate fast. Build the simplest version of your core idea. Get it out there, prove it works, and then build based on what real users tell you.
Don't wait for perfection.
Exactly. Third, build a lean team. You can't do it all. Find specialists who fill your gaps. Maybe it's data science, maybe UX, maybe marketing, so you can stay focused on the overall vision.
Surround yourself with the right people.
And fourth, and this is a big one, don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the degree or the funding or the perfect plan. Just start building, start learning by doing, and kind of create your own path. These steps make launching something AI-driven way more achievable than people might think.
And it seems like Cal AI is sticking to that formula for the future, too. Their roadmap includes things like expanding the AI to recognize more types of food, more cuisines, portion sizes.
Which is technically challenging, yeah.
Integrating with wearables like smartwatches for health tracking, adding social challenges to keep users engaged.
And all that is likely built on that same foundation, right? Using existing APIs, cloud computing, and always focusing on the user experience.
So, wrap it up. 17 years old. Zach Yadegari takes a simple, relatable problem tracking food and uses AI to build a solution. Turns that basic idea into a multi-million-dollar business. No traditional CS degree, no massive upfront funding, just hustle and really smart use of the tech that's available right now.
His story is just such a powerful reminder, I think, that you don't always need the official credentials or, someone's blessing to just start building something impactful.
That's our deep dive into Zach Yadegari and Cal AI. Really fascinating stuff.
Absolutely. So considering how Zach used these accessible AI tools, focusing purely on execution, here's a final thought for you listening. What existing technology, what resource that's out there right now could you leverage to bring one of your own ideas to life? Without waiting for that traditional path or for someone else's permission.
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.